Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. We just got a brand new look at Avengers Doomsday. I don't know if this is one of those leaks that Marvel does on purpose in order to drive hype, because it happened right as the Superman review embargo was lifting yesterday, and everybody spent all day talking about that movie instead of Marvel stuff. So Marvel dropped a whole bunch of clips, trailers, and maybe this leak too, just to try and pull some attention from all the Superman hype that's going on right now. Looking at you, Marvel, we know that that's a real thing. They've actually been doing this, dropping leaks on purpose to drive hype since before Avengers Infinity War. Based on what's happening in this scene, it looks like it's the rest of what happens in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, like what happens right after that, when the Thunderbolts, who have become the new Avengers, and the other major teams in the MCU all meet the Fantastic Four, and they start dealing with the threat of the incursions and Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, and maybe eventually meet the X-Men, because it seems like this is happening a little bit earlier in the movie, before they've met the X-Men characters. So we'll break it all down. There are a couple hidden details and a couple hidden characters in this scene too, if you zoom in and enhance. So hopefully the person that actually took this picture was not assassinated by Kevin Feige's Marvel snipers, and it really was them doing this on purpose. A lot of the Tom Holland spoiler bros, Mark Ruffalo stuff is actually on purpose now. So if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I am sure there's going to be a lot more of this coming this year and next year as they film Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars back to back. But based on what's going on, it looks like Evan Moss-Bachrach in his Ben Grimm Thing motion capture suit meeting with the Thunderbolts version of the new Avengers. Notice John Walker, US agent, is wearing his exact same suit and beret that he was wearing in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, and he's getting all curious, pushing all the buttons on their console. Like, do not press buttons. You can just imagine the Thing turning it and telling him to stop pressing stuff. He was actually doing that during the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, just pushing buttons inside the new Avengers tower that Val had redesigned after naming them the new Avengers. Like, he's obsessed with buttons now. Ben Grimm is also looking right at Falcon, who's wearing his newer Falcon suit that he got at the end of Captain America Brave New World, or he was about to get, meaning that Sam Wilson's other competing new Avengers team is also here, because that was the whole big twist of the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, is that Sam Wilson was filing a trademark copyright suit against them because he didn't want them using the new Avengers name.
You know he's filed for copyright of the name?
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Here's where we get to some of the hidden details and characters. So zoom and enhance in the bottom right corner of the frame here. The foot you see looks like Shuri's Black Panther suit, meaning that the Wakandans in Shuri are also here. And Shuri, as we all assume she would be, is still Black Panther when Avengers Doomsday picks up. Based on that Thunderbolts post-credit scene, only about 14 months has gone by. Like, it hasn't been that long. And it seems like the MCU heroes, when all the different groups inside the MCU at the beginning of the movie split into different teams dealing with different threats, this team just happens to use the Fantastic Four's ship to get around, like their base of operations, the same way that one of the teams in Avengers Endgame used the Guardians of the Galaxy ship to kill the older Thanos who had snapped the Infinity Gauntlet. The reason why I think this is the Fantastic Four's ship is you just notice the retro-futuristic 1960s design of that curving console in front of the windows here, the old-timey looking layout of the monitors and the physical tactile buttons that John Walker is obsessed with. We haven't actually seen every single part of the Fantastic Four ship. We've only seen a couple views of it, mostly just the cockpit. Like, there was a brand new trailer that released where you actually see a front-facing view of the actual cockpit itself, where Ben Grimm was piloting the controls. This is like right after Sue Storm has given birth to Franklin Richards. I know there's tons of questions about the 3 fins versus the 4 fins, like why does the Fantastic Four ship look a little bit different during the Fantastic Four trailers in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene? Based on the way that Marvel works on stuff behind the scenes, I think that's just like a minor visual error, but it's always possible that they have some way of explaining that at the end of the Fantastic Four movie or the beginning of Avengers Doomsday. But essentially, it's meant to be the Fantastic Four's ship from the end of the Fantastic Four movie at the beginning of that Thunderbolts post-credit scene. Like, it is their ship. They're on that ship. It's a really big ship, so my assumption is that the Russo brothers, who are the ones that are actually filming this Fantastic Four scene right here from Doomsday, are just showing a different part of the ship. Fun fact too, Florence Pugh also revealed that the Russo brothers were the ones who actually filmed the Thunderbolts post-credit scene because it was meant to take place at the very beginning of Avengers Doomsday, that 14-month time jump after the main part of the movie.
Extra dimensional, what does that mean?
The way I took that in the theater was that it was their version of the Thor Ragnarok post-credit scene where Thanos had shown up to take the Space Stone from Loki and kill the Asgardians, but it cut to black before you actually see Thanos himself walk out on screen and board the Asgardian ship. And they just left that for Avengers Infinity War, but they cut over it till after Thanos had already killed half of the Asgardians. So it might be a similar situation at the beginning of Avengers Doomsday, where they don't show the Thunderbolts characters, those version of the new Avengers, rushing up to the Fantastic Four spaceship and them coming out of the ship and then meeting each other. They might just pick up with them already in the middle of that first meeting, like, who the hell are you? What's going on? Where did you come from? Why are you from another universe? And Reed Richards starts explaining what's going on, and they start dealing with the threat of the incursions. Like, they explain what happened to their universe, Galactus, Franklin Richards, their baby, and why they're showing up in the MCU all of a sudden. Zooming in hands on the actual console here and the monitors, the picture isn't quite high quality enough to see exactly what's happening on these monitors that John Walker is peeping, but they look kind of like waveforms just monitoring nearby space-time. Maybe they're just readouts of the actual incursions, like the tears in space as universes are colliding with each other, because that's the real big threat next to actual Robert Downey Jr., Doctor Doom, going around killing everybody in different universes. We're supposed to visit a couple different universes during Avengers Doomsday, particularly the X-Men's universe. The whole thing with the incursions, those are the space anomalies that Yelena was talking about during the Thunderbolts post-credit scene that were getting worse. The crisis in space. The only thing we don't get from this picture, though, is where the X-Men are when this is happening, and if they've already met them or learned about their existence. John Walker getting all curious with the buttons just pressing random stuff makes it seem like this happens relatively early in the movie, before the X-Men have come to the MCU from their universe. We've actually seen a lot of X-Men footage from Avengers Doomsday. Most of the X-Men scenes, it seems like they've been filming, also seem like they're from the beginning of the movie, with Doctor Doom coming to kill them at the X-Mansion in their separate universe. Like, there's this giant wreckage of what looks like a Sentinel, which looks just like the classic comic book 80s Sentinels and 90s Sentinels. We just saw them during X-Men 97 too.
Remember it.
Everybody playing the theme song in your head while you're thinking about this. So there's just a big battle that goes on at the X-Mansion. I've already talked about it in a couple other videos, but just in general, it just seems like this is going to go on for a while, like a big part of the movie. Then at some point, the X-Men that survive that will make it to the MCU. But it looks like a whole bunch of X-Men stuff is going on right now. There was a longer clip that posted a while ago. Somebody actually got some footage of what looks like some huge battle damage happening, and it's believed this is taking place in the X-Men universe near the X-Mansion. So at least it seems like they're working on a lot of X-Men focus stuff right now, because one of the other first big reveals is James Marsden's Cyclops talking to Wong. So a lot of big questions about what's going on during this scene they're working on here. What is Wong doing with the X-Men? There are a couple of reasons they could be together. Wong could be in the X-Men universe if they're filming X-Men related big action scenes, or this could be after the X-Men have come into the MCU, like after an incursion or some event has caused them to collide into the MCU. Because the way that Kevin Feige built the movie is that you have about 5 separate teams, and most of the teams are all getting together to fight against Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom. He is meant to be the actual main villain of the movie, but the way that he enters the film, he thinks that he's saving the multiverse. Like, he thinks of himself as the hero, technically, of Avengers Doomsday. It's Robert Downey Jr.'s chair behind the scenes for Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom scenes, and it's inside the X-Mansion. If you can't see, zoom and enhance the background here, this wood paneling on the side is for the X-Mansion, meaning that they're starting out filming Doctor Doom fighting the original X-Men characters in whatever scenes that they're doing here. Makes sense because all the external scenes that they've already been doing, like for the special effects, the visual effects shots, all the early footage we've seen so far is outside the X-Mansion around the grounds of the school, destroyed by some kind of space shuttle, all kinds of explosions, craters everywhere. It looks like there's been a major attack, which now, I think confirmed, is Doctor Doom's doing and the incursions altogether, because it sounds like the original X-Men team here, their universe is destroyed by an incursion, and it's Doctor Doom's doing. There are actually 3 main ways that they've set up in previous Marvel movies that the X-Men characters could wind up eventually coming to the MCU at some point in the movie. There's the TVA, that's like the easiest way to explain it. They can cross universes and timelines. There's America Chavez, whose ability allows her to cross universes at will, just naturally with her biological powers. And then there's also Reed Richards, who has shown that they can cross universes using his technology. We will see how they wind up explaining that. Are they rescued from their universe because of an incursion, or does an incursion actually happen with the main MCU? Because all of those different things, with the exception of the TVA, happen during the Time Runs Out storyline that they're adapting for this Avengers Doomsday movie. But because there's still a lot of questions about what's going on here, if there's any other Easter eggs or references you think you spotted in some of these first looks that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments, and I'll just continue to do more Avengers Doomsday videos as we get more first looks from the movie. It's still pretty early days. They're still got a lot left to film on the movie. Apparently, they haven't even finished breaking the third act of the film yet. Really hoping they figure that out before it's actually time to film it. Not to be forgotten, Marvel's also doing Spider-Man Brand New Day later this year, so don't be surprised if actual spoiler bros start dropping some stuff like this from behind the scenes. The other real big thing going on this week is Superman is hitting theaters. I've already posted my review video for that, so I'll post a link at the end of this, but my post-credit scene and my full breakdown Easter eggs videos will all start posting Thursday and Friday, so be sure to go see that movie as soon as possible. Everybody click here for my Superman review, and click here for my post-credit scene video. I'll update the link as soon as I post that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.